What's up, everybody? You were tuned in to the Arrowhead Chief Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Dow. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys had a great weekend coming off of a crazy game. Victory Monday. Probably one of the greatest games I've probably seen in playoff history. Two juggernauts in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And before we get into that, the weekend was already crazy. With the Saturday games, you had the Tennessee Titans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. You had the Green Bay Packers and the 49ers, and then turn around and you had Tampa Bay versus the Rams, and then to end it off with the game that we had yesterday. Crazy weekend, probably one of the best divisional rounds of playoff history, and we're going to get into it all. Before I do, I want to welcome my guest, Mark, my cousin Mark. You guys remember him. He's been on past shows. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, what's going on, man? It was a crazy weekend. It's what better way than to cap it off with that Chiefs game last night. Absolutely wow, that was bananas.
Yeah, man, we already know that the Cincinnati Bengals, they pulled off what some say would be an upset because the Tennessee Titans were the favorite and they were at home. People were picking the Tennessee Titans to beat the Bengals. They felt like the Bengals, they're a young team. Maybe they're not ready. And Tennessee coming off of a bye week, they should have fresh legs, ready to go. They're at home. They should win. But it didn't go down like that because Ryan Tannehill, he didn't have a great game, throwing picks. The defense did their job on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati's defense actually came to play, and Tennessee's defense came to play. It was just Ryan Tannehill just couldn't get out the way. He threw some crucial picks, especially at the end of the game. It was like 20 seconds left in the game. He threw a pick. Cincinnati got the ball. They marched down the field and kicked the game-winning field goal. And they advanced to the AFC Championship game, and they were just sitting and waiting to see who would win out of our Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. And it's already crazy enough. The Green Bay Packers, both number one seeds, got knocked out on Saturday because Green Bay lost to 49ers. And once again, Aaron Rodgers, his playoff woes, he's no longer in the playoffs. Then you fast forward to yesterday, Tampa Bay. They were getting pretty much beat the whole game. The Rams did everything they could to give the Buccaneers the win. But Matthew Stafford, he made two crucial big plays at the end of the game. I give him props for that to Cooper Kupp. And they end up kicking the game-winning field goal. No Tom Brady in the playoffs no more. He's sitting at home. So then it left us with Josh Allen, who everybody was crowning as pretty much the best quarterback in the league over Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know a lot of us Chief fans, we didn't like hearing that. It's because it gets to a point where it's like, what else does Patrick Mahomes have to do to get respect in this league? Now, a lot of people acknowledge, he's a great quarterback, but it seems like every year they've tried to find somebody they can deem better than him. They tried, some young gun comes in and they say, ooh, look at him. He might be better than Patrick Mahomes. And then he goes against Patrick Mahomes when it matters and he loses. That's what happened to Josh Allen last year. It happened to Justin Herbert this year. Mm-hmm. When it mattered and it was the AFC West was on the line in their home, he lost. Because that man, he buckled. He wasn't having the greatest game in the first, 2-3 quarters. Then in the fourth quarter, when it was time to buckle up, he brought the team back. And then in overtime, game-winning touchdown to Travis Kelce in overtime. And you would think, how would he be able to top that? Because that was deemed probably the best game of the season for the regular season.
Arguably. Yeah.
So that's probably the way that game ended with Travis Kelce running past everybody and then running to the end zone. to win the game, that might have been one of the probably best endings of a game this season.
It's just that it's the Patrick Mahomes, that Kelsey combination is just proven to be one of the elite combinations out there, and it's not the first time that happened, because remember they were in a similar situation a couple of weeks ago where they were in that situation where they had to go to overtime. It was against the Chargers, I want to say it was, and they went down the field and then just they did the exact same thing. Nobody was able to bring them down. This go around, there were so many things that unfolded with that combination itself, and they were showing how that play unfolded. And there was they were saying in the press conference how Travis Kelce had made adjustments as far as just being in the open space.
Yeah.
And that's just and there's just certain players that have certain levels of instincts out there, where you're on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. Not everybody has it, but for Kelce and Mahomes to be on the same page and make that adjustment to put themselves in a situation to keep themselves in the game and then ultimately win the game, that just speaks to the level as far as where they are compared to their competition.
I agree, man. I agree. It's crazy. That game, the way that game went yesterday, it was so much back and forth.
It was like the best way I could describe it, and I use this analogy, I'll say if you're a Rocky 4 fan, that's the best way I could describe it. It was like Dragov and Rocky going back at it, just punch for punch. That had to be the most craziest 2 minutes. Like I said, I was telling people, like in the game before that fourth quarter of the Rams game, I said, oh, this game is drunk. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. And then you go to this Bills-Chiefs game in the fourth quarter. That 2 minutes, they were just going blow for blow. You saw the quarterbacks just putting out their best. And for the fact that it's like they were just the defense just being able just to try to hang on without Matthew. Fortunately, they did just enough to get by.
And it goes unnoticed because the secondary didn't have the greatest game. But, kudos to Shavarius Ward. He did shut down Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Once again.
3 catches.
Because he did the same thing last year in the AFC Championship game. Stephon Diggs didn't have a good game against us last year because Shavarius Ward was over there covering him.
He had 3 catches, 7 yards, and if you want to count the 2-point conversion along with the honorable tackle on the dummy that was run out from the stands.
That was the only thing you saw of Stephon Diggs. Other than that, it was the Gabriel Davis.
Gabriel Davis. He had a field day. It was like watching Jamar Chase all over again in a Bills uniform. He had 2:06 to conclude the game. But I think part of that, though, and part way to that, is because of the adjustments they had to make. I mean, who would have thought Matthew went out on the second play in the game?
Jerron Reed's big old knee.
Oh, man.
Hitting the back of the head of Tyrann Mathieu. No disrespect to Jerron Reed. He didn't mean it. I'm just saying. That's what happened. That big knee hitting the back of.
Yeah.
And we know Tyrann Mathieu ain't the biggest dude in the world, so he probably knocked his bell off his nigga. But you know what? It sucked, but the Chiefs were smart. Let's sit them down now, because if we win, we're going to need them more for the AFC Championship game, and we're going to need them more for the Super Bowl.
He's in protocol right now, so realistically, the way these protocols work, they typically won't have a confirmation, I'm going to say, probably the very latest Friday.
Yeah.
And then with the adjustments, stuff like that, I mean, it's kind of one of those love-hate type situations, but I did see some things. I had some likes and dislikes, of course, I definitely have to address. I think Thornhill, we saw what he was on that level, and they come to show how important it is getting Matthew signed, but that's a whole topic for another day.
Right.
And then you saw how that affected when that whole rotation shifted, and then that meant Hughes was going to be a lot more vulnerable, and we saw how he struggled throughout the year, and we saw that as he's crazily stumbled. But one person I was very concerned with, but I will definitely throw out, and he did actually very well, and I would say a much more improved, was Daniel Sorensen. He improved greatly in that situation, filling in, and it looked like he had learned. He was not responsible for the big plays at all, and I say kudos to him for this go around.
Yeah, Sorensen had a pretty decent game. He played better than Hughes, who got shook out his boots on that touchdown.
Oh, that was
game.
bad.
He fell on the ground. The Hughes experiment should be over it. Like, just put DeAndre Baker out there he's way bigger. He's more physical. I think he's a better cover corner than Hughes. Hughes is just too small, and he just panics too quick. He's Philip Gaines out there. It's not good. It's really not.
If you really want to put him somewhere, leave him on punt returns.
He's good at that.
There. I'm okay with that.
He's actually really good at punt returns. He actually gets positive yards, and he knows how to do that. But as far as playing corner in the NFL, he's just not it, man. He always gets beat, or if he's even if he's in position, the receiver just catches the ball over him. He doesn't know how to high point the ball. He's
too small.
Yeah, he's just too small, man. We definitely need Fenton to come back in this AFC Championship game.
And overall, as far as it's not just about the secondary too. I thought the defensive line, they held it. I said they needed at least 2 sacks. They got the 2 in there. They had some opportunities, but man, I'm telling you, Josh Allen, he's just so big and so hard to tackle. And there was the big 4th down play that he had, and he got outside the pocket, and it's hard to contain. It's like you're trying to contain as it is, but you're not talking about a Lamar Jackson who's smaller in stature and size. You're talking about a big, physical mad truck coming at you.
Cam Newton. Part 2.
And he was just phenomenal. It's like the way that the Bills put that game plan together, I will give them kudos for that. Yeah. The Chiefs definitely had their work cut out for them, but they stepped up and did just enough. I mean, fortunately, it went our way as far as with the coin toss itself. Sure. And I'm very surprised that the Bills didn't even take advantage earlier, because that was my first instinct. When Matthew went out, they were going to take advantage of that mismatch. Yeah. But the Chiefs held on. The key thing was getting that stop. I said, how long is it going to take for this team to get the stop? And with the fact that they got the stop early on them, it showed some guts. So I said, kudos to the
defensive line did their best. There was times when I do believe they should have had Josh Allen, but Josh Allen made some plays. He did, and he is hard. But there was one particular, the 4th and 13. Yeah, when I think it was Frank Clark. He was there, and then Melvin Ingram jumped over. He almost had him.
Melvin Ingram has just been the difference maker. Period. There's just no beating around the bush. If Melvin Ingram, if they don't make that move, they've always had a key acquisition that they picked up. Even the last 3 seasons somewhere there, I would say that Super Bowl run when they add that experience of Terrell Suggs. You may not see it on the stat sheet, but it showed up as far as being able to be involved in him being a threat. Right. And then Melvin Ingram, he just his presence is just a problem. He opens up things for perhaps Chris Jones, and then just being able to see it. You're really starting to see this defensive line unfold.
Yeah, he's definitely there as far as as a leader too. He brings the leadership to that locker room that they need too. An extra leadership. You got Tyrann Mathieu, you got Chris Jones, you got a few other guys. Anthony Hitchens. As much as I rag on Anthony Hitchens, he is a leader in that room, and they respect him. And
he's a leader, but you also see how it's starting to impact their linebacking core too, because Bolden and Gay, I would say they're ahead of schedule as far as how they're playing.
Bolden and Willie Gay Jr. are going to be next year. I'm excited for those two dudes coming into next year. If they get probably one more athletic guy who can roam the field with those 3 and add to that addition, the linebacker crew is going to be greatly improved.
Yeah, historically, you always had those 1 or 2 linebackers. Yeah. You talk about Derek Johnson, of course. You can't forget about Derek Thomas himself. It's hard to match that, but at least you're starting to address that, because I felt that was like one of the weaker points. But now they're starting to fill in, and over the years they got something great going on.
Yeah, Nick Bolden definitely a diamond, a guy who everybody was not happy when we drafted him, and then when he got thrusted into the starting lineup, he just kept improving every game, man. And now you see the fruits of his labor, man. You could tell the kid works hard, and he's always in the backfield. When running plays, he's always making plays, and he's always right there. He may not, they all got flaws. Every player has a flaw. But one thing I can count on is if I need a tackle for loss, Nick Bolton's going to be right there.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he had as many tackles as he did until as of recently I was looking at his numbers. Like, man, this is like nobody's really talking about this dude enough. It's like I said, give him about a year. He could be one of those players in the conversations leading tackles in the NFL.
Be a Fred Warner or the dude down in Seattle.
You're talking about Bobby Wagner?
Bobby Wagner, one of those type of middle linebackers who just make plays, man. And yeah, kudos to him. He had a good game too. He played his butt off to the yesterday. So, but let's get into the man, the myth, the legend, Patrick Mahomes, man. Look, let me tell you something, man. I think sometimes, even as Chiefs fans, we take that kid for granted, man. We don't know how great we got it, and sometimes I think we look at. And I talked about this 2 episodes ago about Chief fans and their past hurt and scars of old playoff losses.
Yeah.
Those days are over, man. You got to stop thinking like that, man. When we got that dude, number 15, and added on number 10 and number 87, one thing we can be sure of is that 15, 87, and 10, they rise to the occasion when it's time to strap up and make a play.
Yep. And you hear in the leadership too. It's like as far as you have the expectation, you don't have the expectation to come out, perform, and win no matter what, because it's not always gonna be pretty. I mean, everybody was when it was a minute 2, they had given up that touchdown in 13 seconds. The fact that this team still believes. I mean, you can even go back and you saw the growth of it too, because even so, it's like it's honorable mention. I'm gonna throw in McCole Hardman. You saw a whole 180. From last year, you saw a little few nicks and bruises early in the season. But this time around, playing the Bills in playoffs, because remember last year he had that fumble. This dude was locked in.
He's been locked in for the whole playoffs.
He went full blown Houdini and then made the big play to get him in that situation.
He's been locked in the whole playoffs because when we had the slow start with the Steelers, he was making some good punt returns and he was making plays. And even before the playoffs. The tail end of the season, Mecole Hardman has been coming on. You see the confidence in him now. It was in the beginning of the season, it was just an unsure, and him and Pat just couldn't seem to get on the right. But now it just seems like they found a way to use him, best way to use his skills. Because now they're using those 2 high safety shells. They was kind of taking him away too. But now that they figured out, well, we could use him at the line of scrimmage with screen plays and drags and things that are end arounds and stuff like that. He can still be effective. No, is he going to be Sammy? They're 2 different games. Sammy is a bigger wide receiver, ex-wide receiver who slants and go across the middle. That's not Mecole Hardman. But if we could use his speed to the advantage that we can get him out in space, he's effective. That run he did, yesterday? When I don't know how he did was that the touchdown?
It looked like he was stopped for a second, and then he found the hole. It was like a full. I was like, man, this dude went Houdini on. Where'd he go? I'm like, oh, there you go, and he got that pylon. But you know what? That's all contributed to the Mahomes effect. And you see, it's like as you mentioned that connection that they have between Mahomes and Kelsey. You see the connection between Mahomes and Hill, but you also see the trust factors in too, as far as getting not just Hardman involved, but you also see the details in Pringle too, because they see Mecole Hardman as being that fast guy, but Pringle just always seems to be that guy that knows how to get home. He's the forgotten guy at times. They be like, oh, what if it's like, and even so, it was like you start to slowly see it because Noah Gray had a catch too.
I saw Noah; he made a couple plays yesterday.
And this is the difference though. That it's like as far as with the Mahomes effect, you can make a mistake once, but they will still trust you again. And this is the difference between him and what I saw in the Aaron Rodgers in a whole different game. Because with Aaron Rodgers, if you drop that one pass, if you fumble the football,
you in the graveyard, buddy.
You're not getting the ball back, and he's only going to give it to Devontae Adams, the only people he can trust, and that's part of why they stumble. But with Patrick Mahomes, the way that this team operates, and the whole idea is just with one vision, and it's so team branded. Everybody's in. It's not just Kelsey. It's not just Hill. It's Hardman. It's also even in your running backs. Because McKinnon came out as a dark horse. I knew he was bound for greatness. You didn't hear much about him.
Right.
Maybe it was destined for this moment because you always have like over the years and everything. We've always seen this. And with Damian Williams, he was the same way.
Right.
He was kind of like treading under the radar, and then boom, he would explode. And then even with Clyde Edwards, my goodness,
Clyde was running hard yesterday.
he had 7 carries for 60 yards, and before that, he had 21 carries, all combined in the postseason for 122. That dude was ready to work, and that was a change of pace, and that was. Big ups to Reed and also Bieniemy for just they had a game plan and executed, and they are just definitely evolving. And how's it evolving? Where is the proof at? Look at the turnover number yesterday.
Yeah.
0.
And that contributes to Pat being more efficient with the football too. Not trying to take the deep shot all the time. One thing Pat learned, and he had to learn it not just this season, but the seasons prior to this, taking what the defense gives you. All the athletic throws and all the crazy stuff, that's going to be there. I mean, that's just who he is. But learning how to take with the defense, that was the next elevation to his game. And the crazy part is he's still not at his peak.
No.
He's still not. Wait till he really learns how to manipulate a defense and pre-snap.
You saw it a little bit too. Even with that throw, even just with his eyes, just having to be able to look off linebackers. I mean, you see the little gadget plays, but and doing the no looks, but he didn't have to do that. He's simplifying it, and even so, it's like in the first couple years, and you can look this up too. In this game, normally you would see that deep ball, like you probably see about a good 4 or 5 deep balls and everything, caught, not caught, whatever. This was about yards after catch. This dude did not have one throw over 20 yards in that game. If it was a play that was over 20 yards, it was because of the yards after the catch. And that's just the explosiveness of his receiving core. And that's compliments to Mahomes. That's compliments to the offense and how they run. This is a completely different team. This team is ready to go and understanding what time it is, and they look like a playoff ready, championship ready. It looks like they got that championship swagger back.
I agree, man. It was and you know what? Before we go any further, I just want to tip the cap because, and look, I've always from afar like Josh. Even when Josh Allen, before he became what he is right now, I've always felt like he was a gamer. I've always felt like before the accuracy came and the throws, and yes, with Josh Allen, you do get a roller coaster with him. I mean, his highs is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His lows, he can look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and he's throwing picks and stuff like that. But the kid came out and matched Patrick stride for stride.
Yeah, on the road.
On the road. In that hostile environment of Arrowhead. That's not easy, man. Joe Burrow, and we're going to get into that in a bit. Joe Burrow about to find out what it is. We're going to find out a lot about Joe Burrow.
On the road.
On the road in Arrowhead. This ain't Cincinnati. We got the referees on your side, buddy. Yeah, it's different over here. But for Josh Allen to do what he did yesterday, any other quarterback would have lost that game yesterday. When they scored at 13 seconds, I don't care if it was Tom Brady. I don't care if it was Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if it was Lamar Jackson. I don't care who it is. Hell, if Josh Allen was on the other side of that 13 seconds, no other quarterback would have won that game.
Nope.
No other quarterback.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, even so, it's like if you're a analytics or stats guy, and look this up on the reference on ESPN.com. Look at their game board as far as the predictions. And I mean, I don't know what the odds line on. I mean, this is why they shut it off at 2 minutes prior to the end of the game. When the Bills scored that touchdown, they gave them a 90% chance to win.
They thought they won.
And then when the Chiefs scored, it was like 95 or something like that, 90% chance to win. And then it flipped around again when the Bills scored. I'm like, okay, it's 90%. And then the only time where it flattened out, obviously, when it tied the game. Yeah. That's how crazy that game was.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, Josh, they thought they won the game, man. In 13 seconds, they was on the sideline. His family's crying and happy.
Hugging, yeah.
They hugging and stuff like that. And then, dun, dun, dun. That man just said, hold on. It's how many seconds? Did y'all forget what I did against the Patriots my first year when it was 30 seconds left?
Look, I'm sitting there thinking I'm impressed with the Staffords and the and even the Aaron Rodgers early in the season, because Aaron Rodgers was in a situation. I'm not gonna say same situation, because the reality was Aaron Rodgers, when they played the 49ers the first time in the regular season, he got downfield in 42 seconds.
Yeah, I remember that game.
And then Stafford did it to Tampa Bay in the same amount of time, which God knows why they left Cooper Kupp. That's a whole down. Let whoever's on that discuss that one. Yeah. But 13 seconds with Pat Mahomes, the method is don't give him the ball back. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Because if there's time on the clock,
just try to.
There's too many variables.
Trying to kick a script, kick or something.
We always joke around and say, just throw it down there, Tyreek down there somewhere. And it was just, and everybody joke around that the Cowboys couldn't get done in 14, but that was hilarious. But it just comes to show, and even so, you can make the comparisons. Dallas last week, and how chaotic it was and everything, and just the sideline looked chaotic, the coaches looked chaotic, the players looked chaotic, and just how they imploded off of that. But the Chiefs, though,
they always look calm, man.
They look calm. It's like they rehearsed this.
Yeah.
I'm like, who rehearses
13 seconds, right?
13 seconds in the posture it was. Yeah. It's like acting in football. I'm like, give Kelsey an award, because he just knows how to disguise and mask, and it's just all across the board.
Yeah, because it was like probably Chiefs Kingdom at that time was like, well, looks like it's Buffalo's year.
Yep, and there was even a clip that went viral too on social media where there was only one little kid.
I saw that.
I said that's the man of the house right there. The one kid that believed. I said this is and I'm gonna say this is the Mahomes effect, because I'm convinced this is the Mahomes effect. The fact that this kid believed, and then you saw that everybody.
He was like, it's 13 seconds. It's still a chance. Everybody in the house was like, nah, it's over. You done. No, it's 13 seconds. It's still a chance.
And this dude brought the Minneapolis Miracle and everything.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know if you want to call this Arrowhead. I'm just going to call it just the Arrowhead expected or something like that, because with Mahomes, you just expect this.
The Mahomes effect.
I mean, everybody said everybody had the mindset, and even so, at the beginning of the year, everybody has said this, whether you're an analyst, fan, or whatever, we expect the Chiefs to be there. It didn't look pretty. No. It didn't look like the way that everybody preferred. It didn't look like the team that should be blown out, because the only reason why everybody kept saying the Bills were the team to beat and they were the AFC and crowning them and stuff like that is because the Chiefs were not doing it in the preferred way like they were doing the first season. This Chiefs team, you saw it in their offense. You saw it in their defense. You saw it in their special teams, and you're watching it unfold. And this is just absolutely amazing football.
I'm convinced that the Chiefs, they don't care about the regular season, though. They don't. They use the regular, and it's almost like how the Patriots used to be. The Patriots used to use the regular season. We gonna fix whatever we gonna work on. We gonna come out the gate slow, and we gonna look like we ain't gonna be good. But then next thing you know, at mid-season, it's like Tom Brady didn't fix whatever problems, and the defense is starting to come on, and all of a sudden they look like the juggernaut that they supposed to be. They always have a loss against a team that they lost to such and such. Now that team, I remember. Buffalo and the Chiefs remind me of how the Chiefs and the Patriots used to be. The Chiefs used to always beat the Patriots in the regular season, and it used to be like a blowout. Like we used to smash the Patriots, and everybody. There was one season we smashed them so bad they thought Tom Brady was done. They was like, he's over. It's over for him. He's done. Well, he ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
Then I remember the first game of the season when we just got Kareem Hunt. And they was getting their rings, and it was a coordination, and we were supposed to lose, and we went out there and embarrassed the Patriots. They went out there and won the Super Bowl again. My point is that it's like when the Buffalo Bills beat us in the beginning of the season, everybody was like, "Oh
no, there was no way.
It's over for the Chiefs. They're done. They're cooked. They figured out." Mahomes. They figured out this offense and yada yada.
That was everybody. Everybody was saying that they were cooked. You had experts saying that, but like I said, this team in the last couple of seasons, and there's a reason why they've gone to 4 straight AFC champs. The fact that this is not just the coaching, but also this is the GM as well too.
Yeah.
You're seeing them make those adjustments and making those pickups, and you see because back then it was like, I'm not going to mention the defensive coordinator's name, but there was no adjustments. It's like, oh, we're going to deal with it, and this is just how it is. No, they're making those adjustments. They got Chris Jones back in his position. They got him some help. The secondary has looked better, and the communication, that was the issue even before Tyrann Mathieu even got there, because the communication was awful.
It was terrible. There was guys always looking around like they didn't know what was, and it was like that beginning of this season. It was like dudes was like, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. Where are you supposed to be at? And it was just like the offenses would be like, hike.
Yeah, but part of it though is like, and I was a little bit concerned about this too, because I felt like the Chiefs, in a way, they had to be brought back down to earth a little bit. It's like, yes, you are the superior team. Yes, you are expected, but at the same time, you have a big, shiny target on your back. Everybody wants to take what you have and what you've done, and now that you're here in this plateau again, now you got to make sure you do it again against the team. I mean, there seems to be a growing theme with redemption games over the last couple of seasons. Yeah. And I said, what better way to do it is like than to go against a couple of teams that beat you, embarrass you, whatever it is, and made a big deal about it. And it's like just kind of like staying on with the topic of Mahomes itself, though. What do you say? I mean, let's see. The Manning brothers, both of them only have 2 rings. Where do we put Mahomes if he gets his second one per se this year?
He's over Aaron Rodgers, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's over Drew Brees, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's over those 2. Like, he's got 2 rings. He's been 4 straight AFC Championship games.
And he was a starter for 4 straight, because remember, he didn't start that first year.
Yeah. Then you have the 3 straight Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. If he wins, it'd be 2 out of 1, 2 out of 3 that he's won. The kid's on a trajectory that we may not ever see. I mean, the Patriots were great and all, and Tom Brady is considered to go. He's the most accomplished quarterback, and Pat may never get 8 or 7, whatever, 8 Super Bowls. He may not get that, but if he gets 3, 4, you got to talk about him as part of it, because he's gonna smash records. Number-wise. Yeah. Like, he's probably going to catch Tom Brady's numbers and some of Peyton Manning numbers and all those numbers. He's going to catch those. The kids throws the way the game is nowadays, they throw too much for them not to smash those records. Like, I believe Josh Allen and even Joe Burrows and some of them other guys will probably smash some records too. But he's going to definitely be there at the end of his career. Number-wise, he's going to be there. But if he has 4 Super Bowl rings, maybe even 5, then you got to talk about. You're already going to talk about Patrick Mahomes in a different room. Because if he wins this Super Bowl, it's no longer I'm trying to beat my contemporaries, which his contemporaries are coming. Because if Josh Allen gets a couple rings, then he's right there with Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrows gets a couple rings, Justin Herbert. If they get a couple rings, then we could have that conversation. But until that happens, if he continuously beats the guys and gets rings, he's going to be in the rooms with the Elways and the Joe Montanas and the Tom Bradys. That's who he's going to be chasing. He's going to be chasing himself.
Yeah.
He's chasing himself already. That's what he started off on such a high that if he doesn't meet that mark, 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, it's like anything lower than that. Oh, Patrick Mahomes he's not himself. He's off. And it's like, but the crazy part is That he's better than that dude who threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. He's better than that guy.
Yeah, and part of that too is also when dealing with that is like it's the way that the roster is being constructed. Yeah. And I think right now is like everybody right now is really talking about, yes, you do have a unique talent as far as it with of course, with Tyreek Hill's speed, yes, there's a unique quality, but it takes a player to make those throws to be able to make that happen. Yeah, Kelsey was already doing his thing, but he needed a Mahomes to be able to elevate that game.
That's what I say.
To be able to take it to the next level. And you're starting to slowly, you would not, I don't know if you would hear about the Pringles without Mahomes. I don't know if you would hear about that. I don't know if you would hear about, everybody was talking about trying to figure out what the number 2 receiver is and trying to figure out with Hardman and how that's going to work. They're slowly figuring it out.
Yeah.
Is that whether it be the jet sweeps and implementing them, and also remember, like even if it comes out the backfield, it's like he pitches it forward. That's how you get Hardman involved. They're slowly starting to figure it out.
And I'm gonna tell you this. I said this. If the AFC don't get them this year, y'all in trouble next year because now the cap space is gonna be higher. And when they get a real X receiver to add to the elements of a Miko Hardman and the Byron Prince, let them get a Juju Smith-Schuster. Let them get a Allen Robinson.
Which is available.
Let them get a Allen Robinson. Let them get a real actual number 2 receiver opposite to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You think this offense ain't gonna? You think they scary now?
And in the league that we're in now, the way it's working, teams want to. There are players that do want to go out and get that ring. And
they do.
It's almost very Patriot-esque in a way, to where they get people to buy into the system because they're going to work. It doesn't mean that they're productive. It's just the way that the productivity load works because it's not going to be solely Hill or Kelce getting all that. You're going to see the dashes and sprinkles of other players. You're seeing the running game and the running backs coming to life, which I thought was greatly. If I can only imagine what it would look like if Kareem Hunt was still there, but
we would dominate.
But the fact that they're implemented in the way that they are, getting McKinnon and also with Clyde Edwards-Helaire involved, and even with Darrell Williams, when you see splashes of him because he's a bruiser, but. And it actually brings me back to the attention of one play. Now I have to rant about this. Andy Reid, the trick plays on 3rd and 1. Just run the ball.
Right.
Put your fullback in the game and run the ball.
With them 3 hogs up front.
We've seen him do it. Now, but it was Burton. We've seen him do it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care if you're in an I formation, but the eye candy and the put Blake Belt. Don't get me wrong, I like him, but come on, man.
I like it when we have 2 to 3 scores,
and you're going against somebody who you I believe he came under your branch too. Yeah. I'm like, come on, Reed. Now is not the time.
But I'm saying it's cool to do that stuff if we up 35-17. I'm fine with that then. But it was 23-21, Reed. Like
and realistically, I felt that was 6 off the board.
It really was. It really was. That we could have put a death blow to him then. Like it shouldn't have got to the point to where Mahomes had to save the day in 13 seconds because there was and we're not gonna get into Mr. Point. I think I ain't gonna accuse him of point shaving, but. But Buckner, what's up, man? I heard somebody said at the stadium, they said that when he missed those kicks, it was a little windy. They said the wind had started kicking up a little bit. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he left 4 points out there.
That's 4 big points.
And then you add the 6 that Andy probably potentially left out there. It's like, come on, Andy. It's like he can't help himself. It's like he gets to the red zone, and it's like he looks at that play sheet, and he's like, "Ooh, we gonna get him with this one, right?" I'm gonna put Bell under the center, and I'm gonna flank him out, and it's gonna look like they ain't gonna know what hit him.
I mean, unless your fullback is out, and even with that little pitch play, I knew it was coming, but I'm like, you don't need to run that play. Sometimes it's okay to go with old-fashioned, run it down your throat football. Yes, I understand you're going against the number 1 defense.
But you got those 3 hogs. You got them in there.
You got that, but also you have got to keep this defense guessing as long as you got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. When you take him out of that equation, you're limiting the options. But it's like you know it's going to be run. If they would put Kelsey back there, I still wouldn't have been happy about it because you're still taking a piece about it.
It's like the one trick play they did where they had Burton in there and they faked it to him, and then what's your name just threw it out to I think it was McKinnon, and he caught it for the first down. That was a good trick play because you got Patrick Mahomes running the trick play.
Yeah.
But when I was like, when I saw him put play up, I was like, oh my God, come on, Andy. It's 23 and 21, man. Nope. Don't do it then. Wait till we get up a couple scores, get a cushion, and then do the trick plays. I don't mind it then.
I just don't want it to be in a situation where it ultimately costs you, because we've seen these trick plays happen. Matter of fact, we saw, I think it was last week, as a matter of fact, where they were doing the same thing. And you're talking about doing something that's unorthodox. Yes, you practiced 1,000 times, but what happened? It started with a fumble, but that happened, and then the rest was history. Yeah, but still,
it's the Steelers.
It's okay. It's like we need just simple football, simple playoff football. You got the best. You got the best quarterback in the league. You got arguably the best supporting cast in the football league. It's okay to be traditional sometimes. It's all right.
Yeah, Andy can't help himself sometimes. I think trick plays are a drug to him. He's like, I need it in my system.
I mean, I understand him being an offensive. That's his offensive mind and offensive brilliance and stuff like that.
What's your name from Waterboy? Coach Klein. That's he drawing the plays on the chalkboard. That's he. Coach Klein. He just come up with we're gonna do this, do that. That's what he is. He can't help himself.
No, we just need you. And then if it's not a slant or something simple or whatever. I mean, trust me. Like I said, we spoke on this. You got more than enough options, whether it be Hill or Kelsey or Pringle or Hardman, or even if it's somewhere in your backfield with McKinnon or Clyde, you got.
Clyde was running good between up the gut.
I mean, I've come to the consensus to be okay that we're not going to run a quarterback sneak with Mahomes. I get it. We're not. That's too much money on the table. No, we're not doing that. But the whole trickery and was too close.
And if you're gonna do a trick play, don't do an option that goes backwards and lose yards.
and that's been the thing. That's been the thing for me about it though. Usually when they run those trick plays, it's usually those plays that are going side to side and not going vertical whatsoever. And usually those are the ones that like,
if you're gonna use Blake Bell to trick play, have Mecole Hardman come around on the jet sweep or something, give it to him and he come around. Like, that's fine. But even then, I don't like that. Like, come on, man. Like,
I mean, I'd be okay if they declare the offensive line eligible and just do it. I'd be okay with that. That's as far as the trick play I want you to go in that situation.
But as far as doing that stuff when the game is close, I hate when Andy Reid does that. It never works out. It never works out. And there's always stalls a drive or something like that. We can't help ourselves. We always have to have a trick play that stalls the drive out. Andy can't help himself. And I just hopefully going forward, somebody just say, look, Andy, I know you're the head coach, it's your team, but let's stop the trick plays at crucial times of the game.
I mean, my question is, they running all these trick plays. I mean, how many are going to be left? Like, if they make the Super Bowl, how many are going to be left? Like, do you have like 5 or 6 we're going to see in the Super Bowl? Like, what is going on?
I'm telling you, dude, he's Coach Klein, man. He comes up with like 20 trick. He probably got 100 trick plays.
He probably going to roll out one. I would not be surprised he roll one out this game. But please let us be up by at least 14 points and make sure that we maintain the lead. Please make sure that we have Tyrann Mathieu and everything. But if there's no Tyrann Mathieu, no trick plays. Just keep
leave him alone. But if we up by 2-3, we blowing the Bengals out, then
they're fine. Surprise me.
Hey man, put Chad Henne in there, wide receiver. I don't care.
Yeah, I do not care. And even let's say when Kelsey, he had that dart that he threw over the middle. Although Mahomes, I thought that would be really cool.
I thought Mahomes would have been.
But you know what?
That would have been the biggest FU. Mahomes on the kind of touchdown.
But you know what? Just take care of business. It's like they're doing just fine. They're looking like in form. We talked about, and it looks like they learned from last year. And even so, it's like they addressed the line. You starting to see how that's developing and unfolding. They've done a spectacular. I mean, Creed Humphrey. They don't talk about him enough. But the way that he has performed, I mean, I thought he was absolutely robbed of the Pro Bowl this year.
Oh, he was robbed of Pro Bowls, All Pro. He should have been first team All Pro.
But you know what? Even if that doesn't happen, I'm okay with it because there's other reasons why we hope we're not playing the Pro Bowl. Let's just say it like that.
I don't care about the Pro Bowl.
But he should have been.
But as far as them and their accolades, that looks good on their profile. As far as
he should have been
Hall of Fame talks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, but the fact that they addressed the line on both sides of the ball, the offensive and defensive side of the ball. They made some adjustments. You're starting to see a few hiccups here in the defense, but also speaks to the quality of teams, which I say which actually led up to part of what I think I actually led up to part of why as far as how they're able to execute now. Because I will say this, leading up to the Bills and the Chiefs game, I felt like the Chiefs were more power and battle tested and situationally tested.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps unfold even with the matchup coming up. Like we say when they played Cincinnati the last time, the only thing the Chiefs were playing for was home field advantage. And on the flip side, Cincinnati, they were playing to get in the playoffs
and win their division.
And win their division. That's what they were playing for.
Yeah.
Higher stakes this go around. Yeah. And I believe with going into this game, and this is where the Chiefs had the advantage. And Ryan Clark from ESPN said it best that the Cincinnati had better be prepared for this moment. Because the Kansas City Chiefs, based on their resume over the last three, they understand this moment and what it takes and what they have to do. They've been the underdog. They've been in that situation where they've had to come back. They've been in that situation where this team has thrown the first punch and then they've had to overcome some form of adversity. We've seen them overcome adversity every single point of this season. In the very beginning, where they were 2-4, and then they turned the season around. We saw them have to deal with adversity and dealing with injuries. Mm-hmm. We saw the adversity in losing Matthew for last night, and now it's about redeeming themselves for what happened even in the earlier season. I think is in the thing about it though, is just having that quick memory. It's like they have to forget about what happened.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that hopefully I believe Spags will make the right adjustments on defense to accommodate what they're lacking. I mean, if what's your name is not able to go, Tyrann Mathieu, I would think that he would make the proper adjustments to have better communication, because on that last touchdown it was a communication breakdown.
Yeah, it was.
Those guys, they didn't know. Nobody knew where they was at, know what it was going, because they was working with Amani Watts, who hasn't been out there.
No.
Which, you know what I'm saying, I was actually kind of glad to see him out there, but Sorensen was still out. But hey, Sorensen still played good. But it's just the community. When you're not used to being out there, you don't know what you don't know. DeAndre Baker, he hasn't been out there, so he don't know certain calls and checks and, you know what I'm saying, what to do in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Situational football. The guys who have been on the field, they know how to communicate. Hey, they doing this. Bail out, or, you know what I'm saying, move to the side, or, take him, whatever. They didn't know that, and it caught him, and the dude caught the touchdown for 13 seconds left. You know what I'm saying? So I believe Spags will have them, and they definitely, because these weapons are better than the Buffalo Bills weapons from top to bottom. Jamar Chase is better than Stephon Diggs, I believe. Now, Stephon Diggs is incredible, and he's done it more. He's done it for a longer period of time. But if we talking talent for talent, Jamar Chase is probably going to be a top 5 receiver. Might be starting next year. Like, the kid, he has that kind of trajectory, that type of speed. Like,
and part of that too is also because of how they've been trained together, how they work together at LSU.
Yeah,
a lot of it was more so the back shoulder fades. Like, that's just all timing. With that
and Charvarius Ward, it wasn't that he wasn't in position. It's just that Charvarius needs to learn how to turn his head around and high point the ball better.
It's a hard play to defend.
It's very hard, especially when the quarterback puts it in a spot where only the receiver can get it. And you got to give credit for Burrows. He throws a good back shoulder fade, man. And him and Jamar Chase just have that rapport. You know what I'm saying? It's like Patrick and Kelsey, or Patrick and Hill. Patrick can throw a ball up in the air, and they know, get it, boom. You know what I'm saying? And they come up with the ball. So, and that's any receiver, great receiver and quarterback report. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. He knows how to throw the ball in the area to where Devontae understands I got to go up and get that thing for my quarterback. And so Jamar Chase, some play you can't get mad at everything. Jamar Chase, he is a superstar, and superstars are going to make plays on certain guys. They just are. The thing about it is we got to stop the consistency of it. We can't have no more 3rd and 27s.
No. And on top of that too, and really it's more so a tribute to the tape because it was the same thing I saw in that Chiefs in the first time the Chiefs played the Bengals. I saw the exact same thing happening with Tennessee, getting that pressure on them. That dude, there is no excuse for a team to have 9 sacks and yes, still lose the game. But I have my own personal reasons. I'm not going to get into that. That's their thing to talk about. But the pressure has to maintain. They definitely have to keep their foot on the gas. And even when they started out hot and they looked like a blowout early, they started to ease off a little bit.
Yeah.
They put them away.
But one thing I know about Andy Reid in the playoffs, because he did it in the Steelers game. I don't know if you listened to the Sight and Sounds. Mm-hmm. Andy was like, "Stay on them, stay greedy, keep going." Like. In the playoffs, and I think Andy like revs it up. He clicks that button himself. Like, I think sometimes Andy, a lot of people be like, "Oh, why would you hold play?" I just think that's how Andy is. Andy is he's very paranoid about his playbook, and I think that he holds like he'll get a lead, and then he'll go to the preseason playbook like we're just gonna go basic, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he'll hold some plays to the vest. We'll say these for the playoffs and Super Bowl, whatever.
And even so with this too, because of how he's been going and how he was accustomed to you, and I think part of that challenge was having to adjust and knowing how to get your quarterback to work in long drive because they've always been that team for the first couple of seasons where they say that home run play is coming somewhere, and they've had to adjust that along with his playbook, and I think that's actually challenged him. And even so, with creating set plays for their players to get in the backfield, usually it's just more so that explosive play, but you're seeing a combination of just like a little bit of the creativity, kind of like how you dress up the plays, and also a little bit of patience to be able to find that hole. Mm-hmm. But that all comes with not just play design, but also having the right personnel as far as with your offensive line. It took them a little while, as far as making sure that they're healthy and the whatnot and stuff. But now you're starting to see it unfold, come together at the right time. Yeah. And it's a matter about keeping that repetition going all the way through if you want to win it all.
So, yeah, definitely against the Bengals. I think the Chiefs are going to fare better against the Bengals. I know they have better weapons, but that offensive line for Joe Burrow, I just think Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, and Frank Clark are going to put some pressure on Joe Burrow, especially when that crowd is loud and Joe Burrows has to get used to making them silent checks. Like, it's different when you're in your own home and you can hear yourself and do that.
Yeah, it's a different beast.
But when you feel that rumble of Arrowhead and it's loud and you can't hear yourself and Jamar Chase is out there like, you know what I'm saying? T. Higgins and all of them, and they're like, this is different. Like,
yep, because it's a different beast. It's like it's going to Arrowhead is already a challenge as it is. But when you're talking, like what I said, like even with Ryan Clark, that point that he made, you're talking about a team that understands what it's like, and you have that advantage over them. It's just a different beast.
And don't think that defense period. Don't think that defensive line, because I saw it in Chris Jones' face, and when that 13-second touchdown happened. And you saw he's about to get the ball back. They showed Chris Jones, and he wasn't happy. He was sitting on the sideline. He just shook his head like, we messed it up. But Patrick Mahomes came through. But it was just like, don't think that the Chris Joneses and the Frank Clarks and the Melvin Ingrams and Jaron Reed and all them don't want a little bit of redemption about what they couldn't get to. We couldn't get Josh Allen. We couldn't get him enough. We got him, but we couldn't get him enough when we needed to.
And that's a tough ask.
It is. But don't think that they ain't going to come into this game hyped up, ready to go. We getting Joe Burrow. we about to take this boy down. We gonna make him feel what it's like to play in Arrowhead. And if that, and like I said, they get a couple sacks or some turnovers or whatever, and that crowd get to revving up, I'm telling you, we gonna learn. You know what I'm saying, about Joe Burrows. We gonna learn that, hey, this is different. It's the AFC Championship game.
And even so, I believe with if I could read minds with the Bengals, their game plan, I believe, yes, Burrow and Chase, I'm pretty sure they're going to be zeroed in on them, but they have got to make sure that they're able to contain Joe Mixon, because if you're not careful, this dude can get loose on you real quick.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to contain him, contain their role players, Nuzama and some of the other keys.
Higgs, and don't let you're concentrating on Jamar Chase, but don't forget about T. Higgins and let T. Higgins go off for 7 catches and 200 yards, or Tyler Boyd go off for whatever.
Put the pressure on them. It's like I said, it's like this is really going to be. I would say, I'm not sure how many. I don't think there's going to be that many players with that experience of being in this game of this magnitude. But they have got to make the most of that. You have home field advantage. You're back. You're still in your home. Your home crowd. You have that with you. You have the experience. Everything. All the boxes. If you check all the boxes, it's definitely favored for the Chiefs to win and to be able to win this game convincingly.
Yeah, I agree. They're coming out -7, so Vegas thinks something about this game.
I think they're banking on it more so because of what happened the last time in that situation. But I really do believe, I think this is going to be one of those games where it could be decided before the third. That's what I got a gut feeling. Fortunately, that happened last year. It was like the Bills, and then last year they had the nightcap game. Yeah. And then it started out slow, and then they got rolling, and after that, before halftime, the team was so out of it. This has got to be one of those. If there's a time to put a complete game together and show us this is it right here. To put a complete game together, offense and defense. Sometimes we've seen where it's been the offense and not so much the defense, or defense not so much. This is the game to do it.
Yeah, for real.
And if you want to prove that you're a dynasty and shut the crowd up and everything, this is the game to do it. Experts are picking you. There was a stat number that was talking about the projections of making the Super Bowl. I think they had the Chiefs like at an 89% chance of coming out there like that to be able to do that. Play like a team that has an 89% chance. Don't come out flat and take this team for granted. And beat this team with touchdowns. Yeah. Take care of business.
Yeah. Just and I'm sure that Pat knows, and Pat gonna get that offense right. It's all about that defense and Chris Jones and some of the leaders. And like I said, hopefully if we get Tyrann Mathieu back, then that's cool. We'll get, what I'm saying, he'll have the back end better than what it was, and I just believe Spags is gonna make the adjustments. He knows that he can't do that. He can't leave Shavarius Ward on the island again with Jamar Chase. You got to give him some help. Yeah, he did great against Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs he's an incredible wide receiver, but he's not Jamar Chase. He's just not. He don't high point balls like this kid, and T. Higgins too. T. Higgins is like 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude. He's like a Mike Williams. Don't put Mike Hughes on T. Higgins.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where I saw some dangerous matchups. Where I saw even yesterday where I saw Hughes match up on Diggs. I'm glad he does not see that.
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying. So it's all about just coming out and showing who you are, man. It's the AFC Championship game. We win these. Expectations. I expect the Kansas City Chiefs to come out and show these young boys what it is. So
I do not expect Mahomes to be the leading rusher in this game. No. I'm gonna make my bold prediction as far as stat wise. I'm gonna say McKinnon. They're gonna keep him going. I'm gonna say he has at least 2 touchdowns, and he might touch over 100 yards this week. I would not be surprised.
And I think Clyde's gonna be in that mix too. I think he'll have about 70 yards himself. I think they're gonna hit him with a heavy dose. I think what they're gonna do is hit him with a heavy dose of that running game, slow, methodical drives. Keep that offense on the sideline, man. We're not scoring so early or whatever. Let's go slow, methodical. Keep Joe Burrows on that sideline in the cold with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And expectations. You got to score every time you come out here, buddy. So I think they're going to go out there. And I think they're gonna win this game pretty handily. That's just my expectations for this game. So, and with that being said, go ahead and say this all our time, man. We almost at the 60-minute mark talking about this game, but hey, it was a great game, man. And cool, like I said, tip my hat to Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. They will be back. Let's not mistake that. We might be right back here next year with the Buffalo Bills,
depending on their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, true. If Brian Daboll leaves, that's going to be interesting to see how much Josh Allen changes.
Yeah, if they get them, if they get the pieces, because I know that Josh Allen contract kicks in too, so it's gonna make it interesting.
Yeah, most definitely. So, and if you are a first-time listener of the Arrowhead Chief podcast, go ahead and in whatever streaming site that you listen to, go ahead and subscribe to whether you're on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Breaker, wherever you listen to your podcast. Arrowhead Chief Podcast is there. And if you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us on there, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. If you want to follow me personally, CRIS_style 702. And on Instagram, it's 70282. And Mark?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely drop a tag and everything. Definitely follow the podcast. You can follow me at DJ Ant Marks, DJANTMARKS. You feel free to follow me on all platforms. Pretty much, I'm on Twitter, Instagram. You'll find me there.
And once again, thanks for coming through, Mark. Man, we got to do this again after the AFC Championship game, win or lose. We got to do this, and hopefully, we'll be talking about going back to another Super Bowl, man.
And make sure you drop them scores too underneath the chat. I'm very interested to see what you guys post and what you guys think. Make sure you drop them scores underneath the in the little box.
Yeah, man. We definitely, you know me. Every Sunday I'm doing the score prediction. So definitely hit us up. And I appreciate y'all on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Y'all participation, man. Especially on Facebook. Y'all like crazy on Facebook. But I get like thousands of notifications of score predictions, and I like that. So you guys have a good rest of your week. Let's get ready for this AFC Championship game and get ready to go to another Super Bowl. Go Chiefs!